Hi everybody, I'm Alison Laing from CSIRO and I'm talking today with Dr. Mahesh Gathala about the evolution of the SRFSI project and its operation in its early years. Brendan has already explained the research questions underpinning SRFSI, so we're going straight into talking about the initial research. Maheshji, what countries did SRFSI operate in?
Thank you, Alison, and welcome. This project was started in 8 districts of 3 countries, India, Nepal, and Bangladesh, in Eastern Gangetic Plain zones, where all 3 countries, boarding areas are in place. This is also facilitated as a regional platform, as there was no, regional platform to share the knowledge and experience across the border after the rise with consortium. Finished particularly in Eastern Gangetic. Though CISA, was a regional project in initial year, but later on it was shifted more on country specific. This, geographic area are similar in cropping system, culture, environment, biophysical practice, and ethnicity. But major differences are in policy and governance. So, wanted to examine differences across the national borders of conservation agriculture, sustainable intensification practices.
And this project focused very much on research from farmers' fields, not from research stations. This was an unusual part of SRFSI, but it was also one of its great strengths. How many farmers' fields did we work on?
Indeed, yes, because this project was focused more on, directly on farmers' field. So we designed and implemented our 1,000, on-farm trials at farmers' field, as per the farmer, requirement and demand. Out of that, over 400 farmers' field trials were core trials, which were looking the impact of, conservation agriculture assessment and protection across the borders. And then there was short and medium term goals, trials which are more addressing the research questions of local and then, medium district level problems like immediate generations, immediate income generation, options, and then, cropping system optimizations. So these were, addressing the direct driven demand of the farmers.
Mm-hmm. And as well as operating on so many farmers' fields, I know SRFSI was really complex in its number of project partners and the huge project team. Who was involved in SRFSI and how did you identify these partners?
Indeed, because if you have over 25 partners, it's not easy. It's a big complex platform. Because if you have different mindsets, different, organization expertise and then diversity in, many aspects in cultures and everything and working styles. So yes, this consortium was over 25 partners, including national and international research agencies. And then partners were chosen, for the regional areas they worked in and also their expertise in aspects of agronomy, water policy, crop stimulation, scaling, and social research. Later on, we came together and we selected, like research districts, and then visited these to engage with local communities and explain the project goals and objectives. Local communities selected farmers to participate in the project and local technicians who were employed by the project to monitor day-to-day operations. Particularly, engagement with local communities was important to ensure community ownership of research, as well our respective bottom-up approach to working with our farmer colleagues was really fundamental to success of SRFSI.
I completely agree with you. I think that bottom-up approach, and you've talked before about farmers being our colleagues on the project, not our end users. I think that's a super important part of what drove the success of SRFSI. I know we're going to talk later in session 3 about capacity building and training in this part of SRFSI, and that was training both at the individual level and also for institutional stakeholders of the project. So for now, I'm just going to flag that knowledge building was a key part of the initial project design. But as well as a strong training program, there was really strong monitoring and evaluation of all field trials. Could you talk a little bit about this, M&E, please?
Thanks, Alison. As you mentioned, that training or capacity building is very important and priority, and likely also MEL, monitoring, evaluation, and learning also equally important. Without effective monitoring and evaluation, it's not possible to effectively meet the project and you can get quality. So in this project, the effective monitoring, evaluation, and learning is the key to of this project success. Our focus was on quality delivery through part transparency and responsibility of individuals and team. This started with the field technicians who were the link between farmers and the projects in all districts and who monitor the field trials day-to-day basis. They were able to alert the project team to any problem early on and ensure we could find a solution quickly. A team of project scientists visited each field trial site at least once per cropping seasons to talk farmers and learn directly from them and to support our local research colleagues. As well, the project provided technical backstopping and agronomic support as needed basis throughout the field trials. We had 6 monthly evaluation meetings through semi-annual and annual workshop where all partners shared their progress.
And gender was another important consideration in SRFSI too. What did you do to empower women in SRFSI?
Here we are very thankful to DFAT, SDAP and ACIR, as they, put the very strict target of 30% minimum women's participation. But initially we thought that we make the number 30% increase. But later, in very short period, we realized that, okay, we cannot ignore 50% population. Without the effective participation of 50% population, any project is not going to be successfully implemented. So that was the great realization for us. And then immediately we design our research in such a way that we have a gender focus group discussion and we identify the problems and constraints and their needs. Accordingly, we design our research. Later on, also we developed a capacity building in each geography and institutions that's a gender specialist, which were the responsible of all gender activities and make sure that gender participation in all activities and everywhere is there. So that was a great, success, example. That's how women are and equal gender participation is important to make a project more impactful and successful.
Yep, absolutely. What were some of the other innovations that were instigated in the SRFSI project?
From the beginning, we were very clear that for the sake of project or from the scratch, we will not start everything new in the communities. So rather than how we can use the existing infrastructure which has been either established or developed by government agencies, development agencies, NGOs, INGOs, and then other development projects and all. So we explored them and we contacted them, we visited them, we explained project goals and activities, and then later on we plan that we want to catalyze them. So we train them, we provide the capacity building for them, and then orient them for micro entrepreneurship. And we find the gaps, and this project fills the gaps where that like machinery requirement, inputs, key inputs, training, technical background, so on. So that was the one. Then this led to development of single window services where farmers could get all their assistance with cost practices in one place, including advice, technical inputs, and so on. So because we worked with the existing farmers group, the farmers already had trust with these groups, so we didn't need to build this from the scratch. All innovation had the effect of improving the support of farmers from passive practice, ensuring its local relevance and wider uptake. Later on, this platform also used as a kind of umbrella where all stakeholders come together and then put their all activities like convergence, like all government plan schemes other development project schemes, and then some projects, and then research organization, everybody come together, and private sector, which is very important. And we invite all, and they come together and they implement their activities through through this group, which were more impactful and more kind of like better outcomes oriented.
And another aspect that you had to ensure the broader uptake and the wider awareness of SRFSI right from the start was engagement with policymakers. Could you talk a little bit about the engagement with policymakers that was undertaken from the start of SRFSI?
Engagement with policymakers came after with the farmers. We combined top and bottom-up approach to ensure that our scaling project research was more possible. Because when we have like this much of strong field trials have presence in the field. So these local communities with effective participant local communities. So these local communities involve the local governance and policymakers, and local governance and policymakers further communicate to higher level, and they invited in the community, and they convince them that okay, this way is going to be more sustainable, and farmers then they can improve their livelihoods, and then they can get opportunity for employment, self-employment also. So they convinced, and then later on this project was catalyzed and facilitated for consultation and for effective or creating a enabling effective enabling policy environment. So that's why this project is really worked very well.
Yeah. And SRFSI also facilitated farmer-to-farmer learning and broad collaborations between farmers. Could you talk about some of the knowledge sharing that happened between farmers and why you did that?
Thank you, Alison. Seeing is believing. And farmer understand their own language rather than they trust directly on scientists and actions. They listen them, but it's not necessary that they act on them. But once they talk to farmer and they convince, then they really act on that. So that was the great experience. So we ensure through field days, community visits, and then putting all and traveling seminars and so and capacity buildings and all, and focus group discussions. So we involve all these communities everywhere, and we treat these communities as a partner rather than as an end users. So that was great. So because that's developed trust between scientists and then these communities and then farm and then they led for so many things. So that really it was a wonderful experience to work in that.
It really was, and I think for everyone who worked on the SRFSI project, being able to enable farmers to sustainably maintain or increase their productivity was the most rewarding thing. Another rewarding aspect for scientists was the publications that we achieved, and this is only a snapshot of all those that were achieved. We couldn't fit them all on, but could you talk a little bit about the publications from the early years of the SRFSI project?
I think this is one of the most proudable, achievements or outcomes of SRFSI team or SRFSI family, I would say. Through this, project, and till now we will publish, 24 papers. Out of 24, 10 publications are in very high, impactful international journals. With more in pipeline, there's no doubt about that. And I would like to congratulate to all involved in these publications. These publications are addressing issues of environment, water, energy, productivity, income, and then labor. And then, all these aspects, and then social science and innovation, so on. So, and this not only published in agronomic journals, these are published in all range of, journals that have environment, social, agronomic, energy, and so on, so water. So yes, this is really a great achievement of SRFSI.
Absolutely. Now, SRFSI, you were leading SRFSI for the first part of this project, and it was really your life, wasn't it? Your professional life anyway. You were living, breathing, thinking SRFSI all the time. What did you personally enjoy the most about working on the project in these early years?
In early years, it was a great challenge because to working with 20 partners and then so many diverse communities and all. But I would like to thank Mr. Patrick Wall to help me and then contributed a lot. But really, we enjoyed working with farmers, listening them, learning from them, and giving their feedback to improve the field trials as well as technologies. SRFSI team not only did good science, but it was full of lovely people. And it's really have a great impact on their day-to-day social science and social life as well. We worked hard and we enjoyed ourselves.
Mahesh, I'd like to congratulate you on establishing and leading such an important research project. I know that your personal commitment, your hard work and your dedication throughout the early years of SRFSI contributed significantly to its success. Well done on your contribution to conservation agriculture-based sustainable intensification in the EGP.
Thank you, Alison, and I'm really grateful to all farmers who really provided the unconditional support to us, and they trust on us. Support, staff, researchers, science, and all who were involved in making the SRFSI such a success. We cannot ignore that all institutions and the NARS that they provided, the unconditional support, and they worked hard. And really, this is not kind of like simple, but I would say this is really a big family of SRFSI, which has converted as a family, not as a project. Now we can say project, but it's a really one family.